$20 at work. you move? Meeting of Glendale Planning and Historic Preservation. We'll begin as always by noting that we have a quorum. We're missing 2 excused absentees. First item of business is approval of the minutes of our last meeting, September 11. Members of the commission, you've had a chance to review those. What's your pleasure?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, well, I don't think we have any old business, certainly none that's listed, so let's move on to new business. The first request is a request of Rob and Megan Holtz for window replacements at 195 East Fountain. Mr. Holtz.
How you doing?
Good. I think we've seen you here before, so you know how we operate.
Sure.
Tell us as much or as little as you want. We'll take it from there.
Sure. So we purchased the house on 195. My wife runs a business where she flips houses and remodels. Most of you know her. There was a bay window here where the double hung window is with the picture window in the middle. We were in the house, noticed that there was some structural damage with like termite damage. We went ahead and had a window replaced. So at this meeting, I'm actually asking if this is something that we can approve or something we need to do to change based on what we did. I should have come here 2 meetings ago. So we closed on July 25th on the house. We are in the process of rehabbing the house now. The last meeting I couldn't make, had a family death. So this is the first meeting I can make. But we also move very fast on these houses that we work on, right? So we put the window in. I wanted to get feedback on what we put in, if there's anything we need to change to what we've actually done. We went through and read what we could for all the guidelines that are out there. Try to match the windows that are actually on that side of the house. In 2015, there was replacement windows that were put into the house. The vinyl windows. You also notice on this side of the house, this is if you're looking at the house to the right, next to the driveway, there was never any shutters put on the house when they did the additions. So the best I can tell you is there's been at least 2 additions to this house. If you look at the roof line, you can kind of see the second addition, and it's really wonky on how they put the roof on. So what I'm asking for is like some guidance on what we need to do there. The oldest picture I could find of the house was from 1992, and that's on the auditor's website. I also went to the Train Depot and looked at all the pictures that were on file there, which I submitted everything I found, and I really can't see anything from this side of the house on what that actually needs to look like from previous to 1992. So I can also tell you that the bay window that was there was not original to the house, because when we ripped it apart for the termite damage, there was framing that was done that was way after 1950, because it was all stamped with kiln drying, like newer construction, not dimensional framing. So I know it's not original to the house, but I'm looking to say to you all, like, help tell me what that needs to look like from what we've done. What's different, what we need to do different from what's there.
We're talking about well, it used to be a bay window, now the
Correct.
large window in the lower right. All the other windows were not a part of this project?
No.
They were replaced in 2015, you said?
Well, that's what the neighbor told me. So I was asking, I asked David if he had any information on when that was done, because I think it was approved through this board at the time. And if you look at the front of the house, if you have any pictures of that, there's replacement vinyl windows in the front of the house, which I wish they'd have never done, but I can't go back in time. So I'm trying to keep with what the windows that were installed that are there. So that's kind of what I tried to do here, is match what was there.
Okay, so we're really just talking about one window.
Yeah.
And essentially you altered an alteration. I mean, the
Correct.
The projecting bay window was not historic.
Correct, it's an
And-
1855 house, so you're right.
And this is on a side elevation, correct? So is it very visible from the street?
Yes.
It is currently, yes.
Mhm.
I've also talked about planting a tree or something like that to, because there were a bunch of trees and overgrown brush, if you remember the house at 195, and we've removed all of that. We also found was the siding was heavily damaged. There was animals living inside of the house, climbing through the siding, so that's been fixed. We've basically on the exterior, that's all we've really fixed is that window and the siding. And I'm trying to think what else. There was a little bit on the roof on the front porch that got fixed, but other than that, we haven't touched much of the outside unless you count painting. But
Is the window the same size that the?
yeah, so the old bay window had a roof on it. So the opening for where the bay window was, the roof that slants down, it's exactly the same size as the opening.
From the peak of the roof.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
David, do you have pictures of the bay window, or?
Yeah, let me see what I. You have to excuse the.
Oh, there it is.
That's from the auditor, okay.
Yeah, 21.
I think it's a good thing that that's gone.
The bay window.
Mm-hmm. And there are no paired windows anywhere in the house, are there?
No, I don't think so. You mean side by side windows?
Yeah, yeah, because the
Mm.
opening would perhaps wide enough to have two windows side by
On
side.
the back porch, there is a window that's side by side,
Mm-hmm.
but that was there.
I believe when this was approved, it was approved after the fact, the other vinyl windows.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
remember.
that's what happened. It was
They're not very
done
good
and
quality.
then
They don't
approved.
open and close very well, but I mean, they are what they are. We're gonna try to do pledge and make sure that they open and close better than they do, but
Is this the only thing you're here for, is the window?
yeah, that's it. It's the only thing we've changed on the exterior of the house, unless you count the fixing the siding, but
No.
No, it's repair. So
What was the comment in there about the driveway though?
you did a slight Was it expansion or just replacement gravel?
just replacement gravel. We put
Okay.
back what was there. If you flip through the pictures,
Yeah,
I
thought
think there's an
remember something
auditor's
about that
website
in the
picture.
application.
I thought you widened it quite a bit, didn't you? You added a whole parking area to the left
So
of the driveway.
we found where the railroad ties were in the driveway, after we removed a lot of that, so yes.
There's another photo. It shows.
How wide is that?
I don't know,
There.
but
The-
you could fit two cars
Yeah.
wide, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Well, that was what Euclid was telling me, because he kinda remembered.
You can see the bay window there too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's there now is an improvement over what existed.
Can I see a picture of the driveway again, the way it is now?
Yeah, we've also taken out that fence that's there, the plastic fence.
That was across the front of the yard, right, by the sidewalk?
Yeah, it was all down the
Not
driveway
side,
too.
yeah.
It was, PVC fencing,
Gotcha.
and it was starting to dry rot, and my, 10-year-old daughter pushed it over.
Well, let me see if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address this application. This is Euclid.
Yeah, I'm a next door neighbor, and they've done a fabulous job, and we're so glad they came to salvage this house that had been in disrepair for about 10 years. But I will say that both my husband and I were pretty shocked by the width of the driveway. I looked around, drove around Glendale, no driveways are that wide, so it almost looks like it's a parking lot. That there was ground that came down, like where they planted things, so that it wasn't so wide. And maybe it just looks so wide because ours is on that same side,
Right.
it's like driveway, but it kinda isn't what I would consider a Glendale.
So no site plan was submitted showing the expansion of the driveway. How close to the property line?
So if you go out to the
It's on.
street, it's on the property line, the driveway's touched. If you go back to the previous
Mhm.
pictures from before we owned it there.
Yeah.
The driveway touches at the sidewalk there. Euclid and this one.
So right about here?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And did you expand up along that line the entire way?
yes.
Okay. That needed to be described here in the application. The setbacks for a driveway in the historic district, they have a 5-foot setback off the property line that's required to be maintained.
Okay, so that's where you have your red line is not 5 feet.
Correct, but this area, that area that is, you saying is now gravel, those trees are gone?
They're all gone.
Okay. Yeah, that needs to maintain that 5-foot setback.
Sure. And we can do that. Not a problem.
Lars have done a great job rehabbing this house. It's very exciting.
So Allison, would it be good if what I'm gonna do is I'll pour topsoil there,
Okay,
and I can plant some bushes there as well
okay.
for some privacy, because I think the concern, if you're, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can see that window and everything right from your back door.
Well, yeah, we certainly can see into
Sure.
your house now. There's no doubt about that.
Right. So I can soften that up with some
Okay,
landscaping too.
perfect.
That's not a big deal.
That was amazing.
Just curious, what was the reason you removed the trees?
They were dead.
Dead?
There was one that was alive, so I could have left
Just curious.
one pine tree that was looking pretty bad anyway. So
And you've planted some other landscaping there. haven't you?
yeah, the whole front's
I
landscaped.
thought so.
And then I put in some sweet gum trees. They're slender silhouettes, which are tall and slender. They're going to get probably 6 feet wide and then 25 feet tall. So I was trying to soften that. When you look at the house to the left,
Mhm.
you see Glen Alley, and across Glen Alley, you see the all the red brick and all the air conditioners and whatever else you see.
Parking lot.
Yeah, so I was trying to soften that up too. And in the back, we did the same thing. I planted 3 tall, slender silhouettes to give you some privacy in the backyard too.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we've tried to put things back, if you will, the things that are appropriate for the
Mhm.
space. But I can definitely do what you're asking. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, for that driveway area, okay.
Yeah. So-
All right, is there anyone else in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission?
Just one more question. What is the use of the room that has that new?
Dining room.
That is a dining room.
Yes.
Well, I think that the new window is reasonably compatible with the other windows.
Picture window.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Certainly more compatible than the bay, right?
Yes.
Okay, more appropriate.
So,
Just so I'm clear, I'm gonna have a 5-foot setback after. I don't know
Yeah,
how
you can
many feet
you can
that is.
maintain it as it exists in this picture,
Yeah.
because that was existing. But the new setback would need to be, or the new area that was gravelled will need to be replaced.
Sure.
so for the entire length or
No,
just
just-
the area
No,
that
it's
was,
just there, yeah.
that was 5 feet?
It
So
looks
we're-
like it's towards the front corner of the house is like my line that's straight across. If I were to look at that, the way it looks on
Well,
there.
you can see
So-
from the Euclid,
You
you
can see
can
the-
see where that concrete curb is. It
Mhm.
looks like it's right at the end of, what you can see there is where it
Mhm.
starts.
Mhm.
Okay.
So the part that's, doesn't meet the yard requirement is grandfathered in, cause it was
Right.
pre-existing?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, well then I move that we approve the window as built, or approve the application, including the window as built and, restoration of the 5-foot setback as it existed before the, before construction, before alteration.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good job on the rest of the house.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to our second item, the request of Jonathan Zook at 1125 Congress for window sign. Does he know that we were meeting
Yep.
today?
He got a reminder call on Friday, so I'm not sure.
All right, well, let's pass that to the end of our action items, which means we'll move on to the request of the First Presbyterian Church Glendale handicap ramp at 155 East Fountain. Is there someone here representing the church?
Yes, Rich Spence is representing the church.
Oh, very good, thank you. evening.
Well, hopefully this is pretty straightforward.
Real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but give your name for the record, please.
Oh, Richard Spence.
Very good, thanks. Sorry for the interruption.
We would like to place a wheelchair ramp on those double doors to the Walker Building, which would give access both to the Walker Building, which has our church office and nursery and library, and then to the building on the left, it's a little out of view here, which is called the Church House. That's used as an alternate sanctuary, a meeting space. We serve food there. It also contains a kitchen and the restrooms. And up forward toward the front of the building is where the primary entrance is. Like these old, it's fashioned out of like old English and Irish churches. The door is on the long side of the building. So you have a door there, but there really isn't enough room to put a ramp in and, you know, a 5-foot square landing surface. So we thought the best solution would, and also the 101 Mobility, which came over and gave us a quote, would be to put it on the Walker Building. And then when you go through that door, immediately to the left is another door that enters into the church house, so people can enter that way. And it's 32 inches wide, so it meets the codes for a wheelchair.
That's in a bit of a courtyard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a courtyard, so.
So it's set back from the street.
Yeah, it's
and from the
considerably
front
set back.
of the church house and the church itself.
Right.
And the Walker Building is a later
It's later, it's
alteration,
1950s, cinder block.
1950s. So you're making an alteration to, I would say, a non-historic part of the church complex.
And it's an easily removable alteration.
That
also.
was the next thing I was gonna say, was that it is removable
Yes.
if you wanted to replace it in the future, so.
I do have one question, though. You have it drawn practically across the entire width, so that means anybody that uses that entrance is gonna have to use the ramp? Is that what your
Yeah,
plan
that's
is?
one of the downsides of this,
Yeah.
that there's not really room for steps. And it'll be 4 feet wide.
Why did you choose black metal? Are there black metal railings elsewhere on the church building, or?
Yes, there are. They're wrought
Uh-huh.
iron black, or it
Okay.
could be a dark brown, which is less intrusive.
Okay, this would be dark brown, or?
I don't think we made that decision.
Oh, okay,
That-
so it could match the other
Yeah, there's
railings
a,
that you have.
there's a powder coating company
Mhm.
down in Woodlawn that would,
Mhm.
they'll deliver it there, they will powder coat it and bring it up.
Is it necessary that the ramp be that wide? Or could it be narrower so that people could also, I'm just thinking of people's safety of trying to negotiate a ramp when they aren't in a wheelchair or holding onto a wheelchair. It could be.
Well, the way the
dicey for them.
patio's configured, the hedge and the edge of the brick does not line up with the far side of the doors.
Yeah.
It's kind of more lined up with toward the middle, so.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I'm not understanding from this layout to the overall outline of the building and where the ramp goes from there to your photo to where it shows it comes straight down. So picture that one and then picture 3. That one. I'm not understanding the ramp. So are those, because in the photo, it looks like those doors are more
Yeah.
centered
Yeah.
Mhm.
from where the sketch of the plan is on top in the corner.
Yeah, where the ramp actually connects to to that landing area, it'll probably be more centered than what it looks like on that plan.
So the 4x5 and the 5x5 at the top, those are pretty much taking up the whole width of the sliding doors?
Yes.
Okay.
That way, both doors could be used if we want to.
None of them at this point are ADA equipped though, correct? I mean, there's no automatic door or anything? It's gonna be
correct.
manual, correct?
Correct.
are there lever types on the door at least? or
Yeah, they're
something,
the
or not a
push
knob?
bars on the inside.
And then on the outside a lever,
Just,
or is
uh,
it turn?
So,
well, what is it?
They just flop down. And the
So-
rubber stoppers on the top.
But the door itself, would someone be able to grab it and pull it and open it, or do they have to turn a round thing
No,
and
you
open
pull
it?
If the door is unlocked, I can just pull it.
Okay. That's fine. Any other, Tom, any other questions or anything, or?
I have nothing else. That's my question to you all.
I can make a motion unless there's anything else.
Let me see if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address this application. Ready for a motion?
I do want to comment.
Oh, sure.
That our congregation is becoming older, and not all of us walk as well as we used to.
You brought an exhibit, huh?
More
And it
people.
would, yeah, and it would be nice to have something to hold on to,
sure.
to get into the
Yeah.
church house, which is the building. We use that quite often, and a lot of people in the village use it
Mhm.
for meetings and things
Yeah.
like that.
Pancake
so-
breakfast, yeah. Pancake breakfast?
Yeah, pancake bread, stuff like that, and, some of the women's clubs use it when they don't have another place, and garden clubs and.
Mhm.
All right, very good, thanks.
We'll make a motion to approve the submittal.
I could
as-
add that Bob broke my tibial plateau, and that's why I
I'll
need
try,
it.
I'll try to keep the movie moving.
You have a concert to go to, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
Make a motion to approve the drawings as submitted with the item of the powder coating potentially to match the existing metal finishes.
Yeah.
Reminder, planning commission does not regulate
We
color.
can't
Okay.
regulate.
As well, I guess then as long as it's powder coated to help prevent it from deteriorating quickly.
That's fine, I mean, that's part of the application, so that's,
Second.
motion is second. Further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David, have you heard from Mr. Zook since?
I have
our
not.
last call?
So, can we go ahead and approve it? It's a very simple application.
It's up to you. I mean, we've done both in the
We
past.
have in the past when there's no dispute at all, let's go through it and see if we want to or if we want to table it.
Okay, well, I'll call the item, which is the request of Jonathan Zook, 1125 Congress, for a window sign. David, can you pulling up? We just lost the grip on it.
Okay.
Um,
There's an image of the sign.
And it meets the code requirements for,
For size.
Yes,
Yes,
size.
and it'll be located on the inside of the window.
yeah.
Yep.
But do you know which window? I just drove by, there's like 10 or 5 windows to choose from.
The
Um,
north-
they didn't-
North?
North.
I think it says
Yeah.
north. So there's two large panels on the north, which is on Washington.
Yeah.
They've removed a lot of lettering and signage
Yes,
from
they
the
did.
past sign. And with attention that this is an animal chiropractic service, it's a human chiropractic.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's both, or if they are changing it just for the one.
I think the other signage from the other chiropractic practice is staying on Congress, and this would be on Washington.
Oh.
So they would have both.
David, is this a permitted use in this zone?
It is.
Do you know if this use includes the boarding of animals?
They have not specified whether they're intending to board animals at the property.
Would that be a permitted use, boarding animals?
I would have to review the zoning code, but I don't believe so.
Okay, so a vet's office. Essentially, I look at that as a vet's office, but that would be a permitted use?
Yeah.
Or is a permitted use?
Mhm.
There's a picture of a horse on the graphic. Do you think they'll be?
That will probably be done in the field.
Okay. Mobile service.
Yeah, yeah, home visits.
It's an interesting logo, actually.
It is,
Yeah.
it's nice,
I
it's
like
very
it.
nice. Well, I'll move approval.
Oh, I'll second it.
Is there anyone in the audience who wish to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, that concludes our items of business, new business today. I'll turn next to our agenda for people who wish to address the planning commission. Anyone in the
Can you
audience?
take a walk?
No one? All right, I'm not gonna ask twice. Other business, members of the commission. Is there a
Hearing
motion?
none, I believe it is my turn now. I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.